Thus, Plateau State may have become a den of attacks as many families have lost their loved ones to killings from herdsmen and bandits. With a clamour for security, President Bola Tinubu has approved an immediate establishment of a military barracks in Bokkos local government area of the state. It is expected that once it becomes fully operational, the barracks will address the relentless attacks and killings in Bokkos, Mangu, Riyom, Barkin Ladi, and neighbouring Nasarawa state. Joining us via Zoom from Texas is the security expert, Roy Okidebe. Roy, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure.
Now, this move by the government, is it the way to go? How far-reaching is it going to be?
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity. You see, we always go reactive. If you recall, we have addressed this issue before now, I think like 2 years ago. Now, we are looking at creating a barracks. And I was asking someone, we don't need the military right now for kidnapping. We don't need the military to solve the problem between the herdsmen and the farmers. We need the police, you know, and creating a barrack anyway, you need to know that I found out that a pharmacy cannot just open a pharmacy, a pharmacist cannot just open a pharmacy without getting a coordinate where the next pharmacy is, you know. So we are looking at the territorial integrity of Nigeria. Do we need a barrack right now in Plateau State?
Do we?
That's the question.
Do we? From you are the expert, do we need it?
We don't need a barrack there. What we need right now is policing. We need adequate police deployment.
But it's seeming like the police are overwhelmed with the situation of things on the ground.
They are not overwhelmed. They are not functional because they don't have functionality. They don't have capacity. They don't have input, that is personnel. They don't have deployment accessibility to the unpoliced areas. You know, you need to look at the materialistic necessities before you look at the technological necessities. Then you now look at the homegrown adaptability. We have policing that should be homegrown and adapt, you know. So if you look at some people are recruiting 2,000, 3,000 people, they just recruited 2,000, 3,000 people, put uniforms on them. Omotekun just recruited people. In the East, they are recruiting people. Most of these things can be engrafted into the police and giving them good pay and structure them into deployment into the unpoliced areas. You can look at a distance and say before every such distance, you will have the presence of the police, a response-ready police team that is disciplined, motivated, and good to go.
Well, that's quite interesting perspective you brought into it. You know, mentioning the Amotekun alongside the Fulani, the story about the issue of them having their own sort of community policing. And that's the question some people, the eyebrow, some people had raised in the saying that if you look at the Amotekun, it spans across, you know, the southwest at least. But now you talk about the Fulanese. Others believe that it might lead to, when you have certain community policing in the state and others in another state, they might, you know, affect other people who do not belong to that ethnicity or that tribe or majorly that state. Do you not feel that this might be a sort of, when they interface, it might cause some sort of frictions among them?
Naturally, when you give people authority in your office, in your studio, it causes friction. Why? Because people exceed their boundaries and certain persons get carried away with power, you know. So there must be some check and balances. The first check and balance is to have federal presence, you know, and federal presence must be effective. Now, when they had that Amotekun, I traveled to the west. I went to meet the commander of Amotekun, and I discussed some things with him. Right now, we still have this crisis in the forest region in the west. There are still kidnappings along Benin or a road. There are kidnappings between Ibadan, Lagos road. There are kidnappings within all those Oshogbo and all those areas. So where is the effectiveness? See, one thing we need to know is to firstly get policing from federal. And if any state want to do state police, they should not allow all this kind of fragmentation. If any state wants to do state police, you must show collaboration with private sector and any of your financial inflow that will keep them motivated, funded, equipped, and good to go. So the federal might must firstly be present. The money you want to use to go and do that barrack, I swear to you, it is effectively necessary and could put 2 good command centers around that place that can have even helicopters and functional drone system that can monitor all of those expands. If the police need the military, they will call them. We have enough barracks in Plateau State already.
All right. This matter, because from what you are saying, the matter of state police is seeming you are agreeing with those who are calling for the government to look into the matter of we having a state police as it is to addressing the issues surrounding insecurity across the state. But then it's an argument that is that has very different sides to it. There are those who say that we may not be able to manage state policing as it is now because of some personal interests of certain persons who are politicians, as they have called them. I wonder where you stand, if you think that state policing is where we need to go with addressing matters that we have seen happen in Plateau State.
Public media already concerning state police. I have repeatedly said it, that any state that wants to go into state police must show capacity, readiness, and sincerity to make the state police independent. It must have a strong judiciary that will be able to stand for people, so the state police will not be hijacked. Now, before you have state police, I've also said it, the federal police must be capable. Their capability must be seen as a backup in case the state police need any help. Every federal government parastatal that wants to exist in any way, look at FROS. FROS is a lead to LROS, you know, the state tax system. So for policing, we must have a strong federal presence, strong capacity, and fully motivated personnel. Then for the states, any state that should go must have shown pseudo capability. Let me give you an example of Lagos State. We had the Lagos State Neighborhood Watch. We see them all the time with bicycles, monitoring, supporting the traffic police, supporting intelligence gathering. But it didn't work out. Why? The legal backing and funding. You know, so if we keep all of these things working properly, then you can upgrade it to that. And NSCDC was not taking up arms before. Later, they started giving them weapons. Why? They upgraded and the military trained them. So we must have a pseudo that can be converted, and the state must show judicial independence and financial capability. So you don't put guns in hungry men's hands.
Interesting, because that's where I'm going. Others are saying the reason why we're having these insecurities is because of some sort of local collaborations that they're having. And then we are saying that we should have police who are to be called state police, and because they're indigenous to those places. Do you not feel that we might, because currently we have some bad elements that have infiltrated into the national policing system? Talk about the Nigerian police force. We see some of them which the police is struggling to, weed them out of their own institution. How do we mitigate against ensuring, or how in the meantime, before we have the realization of state police, if we ever going to have, but how can we mitigate against those who are collaborating with these criminals locally so that at least we can have some reprieve?
Well, you know, every time we have a new GOC, a new Chief of Army Staff, a new Inspector General of Police, you will see them quickly come out and start to lash out at every negativity in their midst. You know, it's not necessary. You see, one thing we should have in Nigeria is strong judicial processes. If I have any grounds with a police officer, I'm supposed to have maybe like a court where I take the case to. Then the police can send a representative to come and defend or whatever with their own personnel. You know, we don't need to be making videos at our own peril for the IG to see and say, where is that police officer? Go and bring him. No, the IG himself is supposed to have a monitoring team. What is the monitoring team doing? Can they go undercover? You are supposed to catch men. You are supposed to catch your men too. You're supposed to catch criminals. So I think that we must put in laws that will make a citizen strong enough to be able to take up a case if there are bad eggs in the police and they come his way. But right now, I will give kudos to what I'm seeing the police do when they find out that any of their personnel has gone foul.
Now, one critical issue in Plateau State when this whole crisis began, I think sometime last year, was that the people began to say that they didn't want police presence in the state and in the environs where the crisis were happening, because they felt that they were collaborating, they were supporting rather the people who were fomenting trouble in the community. Now, the issue is about trust, how we can address this matter of trust deficit. If you are saying what the state needs is more of police presence.
What do we do? I love that question. What do we do when we see that there is a community crisis? What do? We call some elders, right? And we ask them to go and talk to the boys, and they come and form a town hall meeting where everybody speaks their mind and mediation and conciliation starts taking place, right? Okay, so when I've said this thing, this is key. I don't know who will take it to the president. When we have distrust, broken down lines of communication between the security agency and the people, you don't blame the people. The people are victims already. Why? They pay taxes, and their taxes put food on the tables of the uniformed personnel. So the people are victims. So the personnel, the agencies, supposed to go to the people, and God has already provided meeting lines for them. How? From Plateau State, if I show you database of retired police officers, if I show you database of retired military officers from Plateau State that are living in the state currently, those are the lines of communication, because those people have reintegrated into the society and they can tell you, hey, these are my people. And they can go to the current DPO, the current whoever, and they are their juniors. They train them and talk to them in the language that they will understand, you know, and speak for their own people. So nobody should come out and tell us that the people don't like the police, the people don't like the military don't like the people. There are already representatives from the retired committee. They should start talking through those venues. Avenues should be created, build the blocks back, build trust, and begin to hit at criminality.
Well, as it stands now, it looks like the issue of building barracks in those regions is actually something that had been approved of, because it is based on the order given by the President to the Minister of Defense, the Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and this is the recommendation he has actually brought forth. But if you look at what they'll be doing vis-a-vis what they had done, forming military base in the north, in the theater of war, in the northeast, prosecuting war against Boko Haram, etc. Do you not feel that this might be, at least to a very large extent, be profitable or come out positively in fighting or in stemming the tide of insecurity in that region?
We are looking for low-hanging fruits right now, sir. Low-hanging fruits. Do you know how long it will take to build a barrack? Do you know the railway they are building in Lagos State inside the city? Do you know how long it took? How many of the rail tracks were stolen by vandals, metal urchins? Now, you want to go and build a barrack. You will meet corrupt vendors. You will meet corrupt military officers that will be giving assignments there. You will meet corrupt government procurement people, civilians, that the president will be running after. EFCC will be running after them. It will take years, and people will still be kidnapped. Why can't you reinforce on what you have right now? If you go to, like, universities, you will see a lot. I've said this thing in TVC. You will see the database of youths that have read criminology and security studies for 4 years. If there is no strike, they are collecting 50,000 naira salary in so many places. If you bring out the database and invite them, you will have volume of patriotic Nigerians that are interested in this line of professionalism, and pay them well. You will enrich the database of the police and build outposts for military. Military don't need barrack. What they need is outposts. The barrack is where the families are. That is why you see Boko Haram attacking. Kaduna was attacked. NDA, Nigerian Defense Academy, was attacked, and people were kidnapped. So many barracks too have been attacked. So if you go and build a vulnerable barrack there, you want to put soldiers' families there, you need an outpost where it will be a combat readiness position. But if you need policing to help insecurity of kidnapping and conflict between herders and farmers and community, you need the police, you need the DSS and the immigration to check for illegal aliens.
Now, one issue that a lot of persons have said is the root cause of all of this crisis that we're seeing is a matter of a sense of marginalization. Those who are said to be the locals are feeling that they are being marginalized. That's on the one hand. Another matter is the matter of resource. There are those who have said that there are those who are coming to, mine some of the resource they found in Plateau State, and that is what is causing this whole matter. When we are to look at this matter holistically, aside the police, what more should be done?
I have queried the presence of elites in some of our communities that claim that they are marginalized. No, not claim. In some of our communities that are marginalized. In some of our natives, in some of our urban centers, rural centers, that there is a kind of disbalance where we call animal farm, where some animals are more valuable than others. Now, we have elites in this place. During this election dispensation, I was on air all the time. I was asking the professors in your place, those that are in diaspora, those that are in political parties, active, very, very active, how many of them has come together, put up a document and say, we will vote for you, but we want this to be done for our community, for our people. If they have done so, there should be a memorandum of understanding between the parties that are coming into government and those that will sponsor them into government. People contributed. No politician in Nigeria will say he used his money single-handedly. Even those that had money. People spent money, people spent professionalism, people spent their time to put people in government. So what was the discussion? Was there no discussion? Was there no killings in Plateau State, in other states, Zamfara State, before this new dispensation, after Buhari's 8 years? Yeah, even in Katsina, Buhari's base, there is rancor. Even in Niger State, where President Babangida, former President Babangida is, there are bandits there roaming and collecting taxes from people. What was the discussion, my dear? Who discussed with this government and say, we will not agree, we will not vote for you, sir. Please, let's have a discussion. Any politician, we have that discussion. Okay, we want this land mass back to our people. We want this, but people just go and collect peanuts from political parties that are coming in and represent the people. And when the parties come in, they don't have your communique. They don't know what your pains are. It's only what is shown on social media. So where are the doctors, the lawyers? Where are they? Where are the professors? Yeah. Where are those that can articulate and put down an argument, positive argument? Where are they?
Right. Very quickly, Mr. Roy, the issue we've been talking about looks more like we're centering on the kinetic approach, because the issue within the plateau, has to do with religious, political violence, farmer header crises, etc. Should we not also look at how we can approach this matter using the non-kinetic, method? Very quickly.
Every kind of process has its do's and don'ts. Now, if you want to go non-kinetic, who are you going to use to activate that process? Is it the military? Is it the police? Is it the people? Is it the judiciary? Who? There are issues in everywhere right now in Nigeria. Issues, even in the civil service. People are diverting funds. People are exercising their corrupt tendencies at every opportunity. The government and the EFCC is just running around catching, releasing, and you are talking of a process where criminals have access to funds. They collect 50 million from some of those people. You saw that woman that was arrested. She was going to deliver the money she collected from families that are victims. She said she has married 3 bandits that are leaders in kidnapping. Now, these are people that are hungry. Who will you use kinetic or non-kinetic for? When you have the opportunity, they will bribe, they will jeopardize all your system with just sharing 2,000 naira in those communities, and none of your intelligence will work.
All right, we'll have to leave the conversation here now. So much has been said. Roy Okidebe, security expert, joined us from Texas. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.